Shalom. I'm Eddie Chumney of Hebraic Heritage Ministries, and we welcome you to this week's Focus Israel Report. In this week's report, we're going to share with you the current developments of Benjamin Netanyahu in his efforts to try to form a new government coalition. And depending upon the government coalition that he chooses, we're going to be sharing with you an analysis of the possible prophetic significant implications of Netanyahu's choice of government. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants to form as broad a government coalition as possible. Ultimately, he would prefer to see the following parties in his government. Number one, the Zippy Livni party, known as Hatnua, which means the movement. Her primary objective is to see a peace agreement between the Palestinians and Israel. As a result, she would like to be in Netanyahu's government and oversee peace negotiations. Number two, Yesh Atid, which means there is a future. The party leader is former Israeli journalist Yair Lapid. This is a secular centrist party. They would like to see ultra-Orthodox Jews drafted into the Israeli military, restart peace talks with the Palestinians, and see a reduction in the size of the Israeli government and promote economic policies that help the Israeli middle class. Number three, Jewish Home. This is a religious Zionist party. Many of its voters are modern Orthodox Jews who serve in the Israeli army and have daily jobs. They oppose a Palestinian state. Number four, Shas. This is a Sephardic ultra-Orthodox party. They don't want to see their yeshiva students be drafted into the Israeli army. Their yeshiva students study Talmud all day, and most don't have a daily job. Number five, United Torah Judaism. This is an Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox party. They also don't want to see their yeshiva students be drafted into the Israeli army. Their yeshiva students study Talmud all day, and most don't have a daily job. Number six, Kadima. The party leader is Shaul Mofaz, and he would like to be defense minister, and he as well supports a PLO state. Two other political parties, Labor and Meretz, said that they would not join Netanyahu's government. So ideally, Netanyahu would like to form a broad government coalition with all Jewish parties except for Labor and Meretz. In a recent poll, 80% of Israel wants a civil government, meaning a government without the ultra-Orthodox Shas and United Torah Judaism in it. This is because they want a greater freedom of expression of Judaism from the strict rules imposed upon them by the ultra-Orthodox, and they also want to see the ultra-Orthodox serve in the Israeli military. Secular Jews despise the fact that ultra-Orthodox Jews don't serve in the Israeli army, most don't have daily jobs, and they don't celebrate Israel Independence Day. Furthermore, their voices dictate Jewish religious life in Israel. Their yeshivas, schools where the Talmud is studied, are well funded by the state. They also get a per-child allowance for how many children they have. These things are the core reasons why secular Jews despise the ultra-Orthodox Jews, and the political party Yesh Atid, which means there is a future, is a party that primarily represents the secular Jewish voice. Benjamin Netanyahu had several meetings this past week with Yesh Atid leader Yair Lapid. Lapid said that he was generally prepared to stay out of the government coalition if it became clear to him that Netanyahu was not interested on passing legislation to ensure that the ultra-Orthodox serve in the Israeli army. This position raised concern for the two ultra-Orthodox parties, Shas and United Torah Judaism, who viewed that if Netanyahu accepted the position of Yesh Atid, that the ultra-Orthodox parties would not be able to be members of Netanyahu's government. Wanting a broad coalition to try to make his government more stable, Netanyahu tried to convince Yesh Atid and its leader Yair Lapid to ease his demands on drafting ultra-Orthodox parties into the Israeli army and be agreeable to some type of compromise with the ultra-Orthodox parties, that would be Shas and United Torah Judaism, so that both Yesh Atid and the ultra-Orthodox parties could be in Netanyahu's government together. Even so, Netanyahu is in agreement that policies need to be agreed upon so that the ultra-Orthodox are more integrated into Israeli society and do serve in the Israeli military in a greater capacity than they do now. The secular centrist party Yesh Atid, which means there's a future, are in agreement with Jewish Home, the nationalistic religious Zionist party, that ultra-Orthodox Jews need to serve in the Israeli military. Yesh Atid and Jewish Home also have common views of Israeli economic issues. However, Jewish Home does not support a Palestinian state, and Yesh Atid is in favor of having a Palestinian state. The leader of Yesh Atid, Yair Lapid, has a good working relationship with the leader of Jewish Home, Naftali Bennett. As a result, Yesh Atid and Jewish Home are working on creating an outline that they can agree upon for the ultra-Orthodox yeshiva students to serve in the Israeli military. Once done, they plan to present their plan within the framework of a Netanyahu coalition agreement. Because of the close friendship between the leader of Yesh Atid, Yair Lapid, and Jewish Home, Naftali Bennett, some have concluded that Yesh Atid and Jewish Home have made an agreement that both will be in the government together or both will be left out of the government together. Many supporters of Jewish Home are religious Zionists. They believe in supporting the return of Jews, both secular and religious, to the land of Israel and believe in supporting the state of Israel. Most of the religious Zionist Jews are Orthodox, but not ultra-Orthodox. On the other hand, ultra-Orthodox Jews are more concerned with studying Talmud than supporting the state of Israel. For this reason, the ultra-Orthodox Jews don't believe that they need to serve in the Israeli army or have daily jobs. While both the religious Zionists and the ultra-Orthodox Jews see themselves as being Orthodox, historically, ultra-Orthodox Jews have viewed religious Zionist Jews less favorably than themselves. Number one, the ultra-Orthodox Jews view religious Zionist Jews as less religious than they are, and also religious Zionist Jews focus on embracing the covenant land that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and in doing so support the state of Israel, while ultra-Orthodox Jews are less concerned about these issues because they put greater emphasis on studying the Talmud in their yeshivas all day. In the recent Israeli election campaign, representatives from Tzipi Livni's party, the movement, said that they would consider joining Netanyahu's coalition if they were promised that negotiations for a political settlement with the Palestinians would occur. A senior member of Netanyahu's Likud party, who is involved in the coalition talks, said that Netanyahu is considering appointing Tzipi Livni to be the head of peace negotiations with the Palestinians. So, what is the significance in following the efforts of Benjamin Netanyahu to put together a government coalition? What is the significance of understanding the various political parties in Israel and their views on domestic economic issues, the drafting of ultra-Orthodox Jews into the military, and their view of the peace process? It is because that the early leaders of the call for Jews to return to the land of Israel from exile, to cultivate the land and to settle it, which is known as the Zionist movement, that these efforts were spearheaded by mainly secular Jews. By and large, the Orthodox community did not support these efforts, did not work to develop the land, didn't fight for Jewish rights in the land of Israel, and when the state of Israel was formed, they asked to receive help from the Israeli government in supporting Torah study in their yeshivas, but they did not have any desire to serve in the Israeli military. There was a minority of Orthodox Jews who did support the return to the land of Israel, cultivating the land and serving in the Israeli military, believing that Jews returning to the land of Israel from exile was a part of the process of redemption, which the religious Zionist rabbis taught comes in stages, with its ultimate fulfillment being the end of the exile of all 12 tribes, the uniting of Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom by the Messiah. And those who embraced these views were known as religious Zionists. And their political voice today in the last elections is primarily represented by the Jewish Home Party. So on November the 29th, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly voted to partition the land of Palestine, calling for a Jewish state and Arab state and making Jerusalem an international city. In declaring the independence of the state of Israel, the first Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, called for the recognition of the 1947 UN partition plan vote, and through acceptance of that vote, declared the state of Israel on May the 14th, 1948. So the issues between secular Jews, ultra-Orthodox Jews, Orthodox religious Zionists, and ultra-Orthodox Jews, the issue about agreeing to in supporting the 1947 UN partition plan vote, or whether to reject a Palestinian state based upon 67 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital, because doing so would be dismissing and not standing upon the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These historical issues are all playing out in the current Israeli talks to form the next government. And depending upon the government coalition that Netanyahu chooses, we could be witnessing a split either now in the forming of his government or following him forming his government and endeavoring to find solutions to these issues, that there's going to be a political split within Israel between those who embrace a secular Zionist view, which means they are in favor of Israel being recognized as a democratic Jewish state while also embracing the two-state solution or a Palestinian state, as opposed to the national religious biblical Zionist view where the state of Israel is governed by Torah principles while embracing the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and rejecting a Palestinian state. Ultimately, the difference in these views will at some point in time cause there to be a political split in Israel, as one political view embraces a secular Zionist state while others choose to embrace a nationalistic, religious, biblical Zionist state. An event of the tribulation in Isaiah chapter 66 verse 8 is a nationalistic, religious, biblical Zionist state is declared, who will seek to function and operate separately from a secular Zionist state. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 8 talks about a nationalistic, religious, biblical Zionist state being born in a day that the nations of the world will oppose. It will have hard labor, Isaiah chapter 66 verse 9, and Revelation chapter 12 verses 1 through 3. But the birth of, in the calling for and implementation of a nationalist, religious, biblical Zionist state will initiate the fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 37 verses 15 through 28, Northern Kingdom being united with Southern Kingdom, and the Messiah gathering, uniting the 12 tribes of Israel, ending their exile. So this is the significance of the current elections in Israel, their results, and the possible coalition government that Netanyahu forms. So what government coalition will Netanyahu choose to form? The answer is only time will tell. Well, that's going to conclude this week's update. Until we do it again, shalom. In Yeshua the Messiah, amen.